Hello world, mate. What a traumatic week I've had. So I'm getting back to just doing these videos. I'll get back to doing the ones about going to other countries some other time. I just want to vent really. So this week, as I said in my previous video, mentally obliterated. Only got 10 views, but ho hum. This one I'm just going to call obliterated mentally. So this week, let me straighten this up a bit. This week I basically started a job after having been unemployed for the last over 2 years. I mean, I have had some work within those 2 years, as I mentioned in the last video, for anyone who's watching again. But they literally lasted for no more than a month each. For whatever reason, I've no idea. I mean, the last one, I think they basically just didn't. They just thought I was too expensive. Basically, I was a freelance person, and they weren't really that clear with the payment and how everything was meant to work. So I literally worked for them for 5 days, having already agreed with them that I'd be getting paid 250 per day. And then I gave them basically an invoice at the end of a week that I'd done for five days, and instantly I got an email back from them saying, can we have a talk? Can I have a call? This was some girl who worked in the finance department, and then she basically sat down and said, this is actually quite a lot of money that you've charged us here. We don't really know. Can you break it down as to why we're being charged this? And they just pissed me around, basically. And the one before that, I literally worked for them for a couple of weeks, and it was all just chaos, and didn't really know what I was meant to be doing. I didn't really know. I had someone who was supposedly meant to be my manager, but she wasn't really that helpful. I don't think she really wanted to have to manage. She just didn't want anyone that she had to manage. She just wanted someone that would just do stuff without asking questions. And basically, I'm a question asker. Whenever I start a new job, I want to be able to get things right, obviously. So I had to keep asking her questions, and literally by the third week she was saying, all okay? And I said, well, to be honest, I don't really know what I'm meant to be doing. So after that, literally the week after that, I started the week by opening up the email that they spent 2 weeks setting up for me, only to find out that I wasn't able to log in. And then I sent an email to this woman, to the manager, and she basically said, have you not seen the email from me? And I said, what email? So I went and checked my personal email to find the email from her, like a Dear John, basically, sort of saying, thanks for all the work you've done for us, we won't be needing your services anymore. And I was like, okay, cheers. So that was the 2 jobs that I had that just messed with my mind. So this week, as I said in my previous, or the end of my previous video, I started, I can't even remember, 2 years ago. I got into that loop of, just applying for jobs over and over again, not hearing anything back from anyone. Literally out of thousands and thousands of jobs that I applied for, I wouldn't say thousands and thousands, but hundreds of jobs that I applied for, I only got like 2 or 3 interviews, and then I didn't hear anything back from after those interviews. So I'd basically just completely given up the thought of ever basically working again. I basically, my whole mindset had changed to just trying to find a way to make money myself, having watched numerous videos on YouTube of people saying to just sell digital products and start your own job. I ultimately set up a YouTube, or a numerous YouTube channels, with intention of basically just not becoming a YouTuber myself, but just as a video editor for YouTube. I'm a couple of them I'm using AI, like AI characters, One of them is with my daughter and is mainly focused on teaching Italian children English, basically with help from my daughter and a bit of AI characters. But my girlfriend basically has been still applying for jobs for me. So she basically found this job for me, and I had 3 interviews. Couldn't really be asked of any of the interviews because I didn't really think I'd get the job. I didn't think I'd hear back. But I ended up actually getting given the job. So I was told last week, I had an email from the original guy that interviewed me saying, would I be able to start last week? And I said to him, yeah, well, with the exception of, I can't remember which day it was, maybe Wednesday, because I've had an ill child, basically, who's got just filled up with mucus so much that it's going into her stomach and she's throwing up. So I basically had one day where I had to stay home and do home dad and look after my daughter, so I wasn't able to do it. So in the end, I didn't hear anything back from him, and he basically eventually, I think I wrote to him and he said, we've decided that you'll start next week. So Monday morning, I'm sat there thinking, well, what's happening? Is anyone going to contact me? And I just sat there just thinking, you know, I can't be asked to be the person having to chase all the time. You know, they should be professional enough to be sending me an email telling me what's happening, but they didn't. So I sat there the whole of Monday and didn't hear anything. Tuesday comes around and I hadn't checked my email. I just got on with my day. And by about 11 o'clock, I discovered these emails from a no reply email. It wasn't even from a company name. So I kind of breezed past them thinking it was just junk mail. And it was emails from this new job to set up my accounts. So I then basically spent the rest of the day in an absolute panic trying to sort out setting up the accounts and all of this. Eventually did that, and then literally the last 3 days, actually before I say that, so day 1, having gone through and set up all of my account, I then literally by the project manager or account manager or whatever, get basically given this task. So me being me, trying to impress, basically, you know, instead of just sort of saying to her, well, look, I really could do with today to try and get my feet under the table, try and understand the clients that I'm working for and how procedures work and how everything works ultimately. I basically just started trying to help this account manager, who was actually the 3rd person who interviewed me. I actually started cracking on doing stuff, only to discover it just wasn't. I mean, she just asked me to change a bit of text on a video I'm working for a tech company dealing with I won't name any of the names just in case, you know, anyone finds this video and they say it's a breach of contract and fire me. But it's ultimately it's for a big player of like making laptops and computers for also a big name online retailer or numerous online retailers. So ultimately I'm doing adverts, you know, like banners and stuff that go onto these different online retailers, and she ultimately wanted me to change a bit of text that was on one of these videos. Now, I hadn't created that video, and it was my first day, and I sat down and I looked at it and I thought, well, this, you know, hasn't been created by myself, and I've no idea where any of these assets are stored, where they're coming from. But I did my best. It was 2 different versions. There was an English version and there was a French version. English version wasn't actually that difficult for me to edit, because all I had to do was put a bit of text on, and she wanted like a button, so it was like a click here for more info type button. So that wasn't that hard to do. I basically managed to bang that out. The French one now has got some French copy in it that she said she wanted to remove that copy and put this new button with something written in French. Now, that file wasn't created by myself, and I didn't know where any of the assets were, as I've just previously said. and I was left stuck, just like I've no idea who to go to ask for this or anything. And it was a Adobe After Effects file. Now I've used After Effects, but in all honesty, that was like 3-4 years ago. I had problems with After Effects. It basically kept crashing and wouldn't allow me to export stuff. So I sacked it off and started using a free product called Blender for doing some motion design work. So I hadn't really used it for a while, and I'm sat there looking through this file going, well, I'm missing all of the assets. I've no idea, I can't even bother to put the example up on the screen. I'm not going to edit this. I'm just literally going to just bang it up. That's what I'm doing. So yeah, I was in just a pain of hurt, a world of hurt, world of pain, whichever the saying is. I then had to go through all of this stress. Literally the next day after that, I've managed to do everything that I needed to do that she asked me to do on day one. Day two, I then wake up and she basically comes back to me like a designer's nightmare, basically. She sort of says, oh, yeah, they didn't really want to go with that. Can you do this instead? So instantly, first thing in the morning, I then have the stress of, oh my God, you're kidding me. So I've spent all of that stress yesterday, and now you're asking me to do something completely different. So I then had to go through the stress of doing that. And again, I'm sort of sat there thinking, I don't really know what to do. I don't really know what I'm doing. Then my I suppose my main manager then sets me a task as well on top. So I didn't really want to disappoint him. So I'm basically then, having been out of the workforce for 2 years, having to remember how to multitask. Now, I'm not particularly great at multitasking. I don't actually believe in multitasking because you're literally putting small amount of focus on each thing. I like to actually focus on one thing, get it right, and be done with it. I don't like to be going back and forth on all these different things and literally giving a small amount of percentage on each thing. I like to stick a whole 100% on one task, one different thing, and get it done and finished. So I'm then basically having to deal something for the project manager or account manager, plus my UK manager. I'm based in Italy, by the way, for those new people who are watching. But I'm dealing with the UK market, basically, for an Italian employer. So yeah, I'm having to deal with two different things, both of which I don't really know how to do because it's literally my second day and no one's really showed me or told me. Thankfully, my UK manager was nice enough to say to me, reach out to this person and he will go through and explain to you what it is that you have to do. So I basically did that, put the other task that I'd been asked by the account manager, put that on hold so I could then have a video call with this other guy who went through stuff with me. Lovely guy, nice guy, but during that call, he just basically fired off loads and loads of links, useful links for me in this chat. And basically I started just panicking. And then after that call, I started trying to put all of those links and all the other links and all of the tabs that I had open on my computer. I tried to stick all of that into my own spreadsheet to just try and keep a track of everything because it was just coming at me 1,000 miles per hour. No idea what any of the things, they're all talking all this jargon, all these acronyms of things that I just have no idea about. No one's sat me down and gone through any of this stuff. They literally just threw me straight into the shark infested waters without any armbands, basically. And that's a funny acronym or whatever in itself. But yeah, so I've just had stress. It's just been a whole last 3 days. It's just been spreadsheets, beeps of chats, emails coming at me, signing up for this, signing up for that, blah, blah, blah. And it's literally now, it's 9:15 7:15 on a Friday evening, and I've literally just stopped looking through and all of my emails. I've just about got up to date, finished doing the spreadsheet to put all of the links and stuff in, and ultimately, basically, the thing that this girl asked me to do yesterday, she basically sacked it off and said, we can start this afresh tomorrow morning, as in Friday, as in today. So I basically started off my day today with her saying, sorry for yesterday, really sorry for yesterday. I've just got a overload of information coming at me. I don't really know what day of the week it is. I don't really know what's going on. So that's basically been my week. And so obliterated mentally, I've literally no idea why I'm even doing this anymore. I'm going to leave the video there. It's coming up to 16 minutes, so bye.